and the way we work. And we all had to figure it out. We all had to figure it out. Is this going to last a month or two? What's happening? How do we do this? The business leader Nasser said, the world has been trying to transition amidst a fog without a compass on a road to nowhere. We all had to find our way. And we're still trying to do that. We just look normal right now. Everybody look at each other. You look normal, right? Go ahead. We're not. We're not. We look normal, but we're not. We're living in a VUCA environment. VUCA, it's a military term that stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And this military term, which is used to describe the landscape upon which our brave men and women must show up to defend our freedom, because freedom is not free, just reminding. This military term is now being used by business analysts to describe our lives. Hello. When I say hello, you say hi, so I know you got it. All right? This is now being used to describe our lives. Hello. Oh, you got it. Analysts are also using this term to describe the marketplace and the workplace. It's a VUCA environment. Yet we're all trying to figure it out. We've created virtual workspaces. We have normalized remote work. Yay us. We've also normalized meeting online. Who would have thunk? We can have parties online, minus the food and the calories, right? We've been trying to figure it all out. Regrettably, we now have something called cubicle graveyards. And these cubicle graveyards have shut down water cooler chatter. And it's against this backdrop that the World Health Organization declared loneliness as a global health threat. Just think about that. We've experienced rain in our lives. We've experienced heartbreak and setbacks. We've experienced loneliness. But for the World Health Organization to declare it as a global health threat, woo! And the U.S. Surgeon General says that the mortality effects of loneliness, this thing that we thought we knew but we really don't, the mortality effects, says the U.S. Surgeon General, is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Just imagine that. When you woke up this morning, you would have to have taken a cigarette, follow that up with another, and then during the breaks, continue to do that all the way to the evening, upon your rest, to smoke that many cigarettes. And imagine the effect of that on your body. And the U.S. Surgeon General tells us that's the effect of loneliness. So let's not assume we know what it is. So what is loneliness? So loneliness is the feeling of having inadequate social connections. Dr. Vivek Murthy says, in the workplace, New models of working, underscore that please. New models of working have reduced opportunities for in-person interaction and relationships. Let's just take that in. Reduced opportunities for in-person interaction and relationships. Ooh, didn't know that it had that much impact. Well, it's just like everything else in life. We don't really know anything until we experience it. So why does it matter? Why does it matter? I was telling my dear friend Michelle, who you know, she helps to run the show here at SHRM. I've had the privilege of speaking at SHRM now for many years. And I was telling her how I came up with this topic. And really, I need to give credit where credit is due. My beloved son, Generation Z, 25 years old, who brought this to my attention. Why does loneliness matter? Let's listen.
Surgeon General, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
You are in England. I mean, perhaps people would be surprised to know that you're here for a happiness summit. In fact, we're talking on International Happiness Day. Why? Why is it needed? What is the problem with the deficit of happiness?
Well, the problem is that, happiness is intrinsically linked to health. When we are not feeling happy, when we're not feeling fulfilled in our lives, it affects how we show up at work, at school, in our communities. But it also ultimately has an impact on our physical health. We've now learned over the years that there's a strong connection between our mind and our body, how we feel and how we are. And the more we've learned about that, we've learned, for example, that issues like loneliness and isolation have tremendous effects in increasing the risk for both depression and anxiety, but also for heart disease, for dementia, and for premature death. We're actually seeing that unhappiness is growing. And I think that's coming for a few different reasons. One of them is because we are actually pulling further and further apart from one another. With the benefits and efficiencies of modern technology and ways of life, we actually have fewer friends that we trust. We have fewer relationships we can rely on. And that is a direct impact on our happiness and well-being. The other challenge, though, is I think technology has been a mixed blessing.
Technology is a mixed blessing. It turns out that the virtual workplaces we co-created is a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. So let's go to research and find out, why is it a mixed bag? So first, I want to acknowledge that virtual work, remote work, has been a tremendous blessing and a source of liberation for so many. As a matter of fact, based on research, the ability to work remotely is ranked very high in terms of job satisfaction. We get that. And we also know that there's a price, just like everything else. There's a personal cost that comes with it. What is it? Well, based on research, a growing number feel isolated from their colleagues and their employers. It turns out that it matters. What's stunning to me is this third piece, and that is the fact that even employees who regularly work in the office, in fact, a whopping 82%, they say they felt lonely at work. It's a mixed bag. It's just like life, isn't it? It's a mixed bag. So now, let's really hone it in at work and why this topic is important. Dr. Vivek Murthy says, at work, loneliness reduces task performance, limits creativity, and impairs executive functions such as reasoning and decision-making. Hello. Oh, you get it. So loneliness is not just about our morale. It's about our productivity. And collective productivity impacts organizational excellence. Hello. Ooh, this loneliness matters. So, I'm going to give us a brief opportunity, about 3 minutes. You're welcome, because I've got a clock here. Right? I'm going to give us a brief opportunity to just do a little check-in. You know, you come to these amazing conferences and then you go home, right? But do you really know what's going on at work? So the question is, to what extent is your organization even aware of the loneliness epidemic and its impact on work, right? So those of us joining us online, welcome. You have 3 minutes to just do a little self-reflection. Here in the room, I'm going to ask you to pair with someone, and you have about 1.5 minutes each, okay? So not 5 minutes each. But 1.5 minutes each. And at the end of 3 minutes, my intention really is to have volunteers to share a few thoughts on the microphone. But for now, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Please answer the question, to what extent is your organization, not someone else's, but yours, how aware are they about the loneliness epidemic and, more importantly, its impact on work? Go ahead, 3 minutes. Start wrapping up. All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. Awareness, awareness, awareness. That's where we begin. Now, in the spirit of community, I would love to hear from you, and more importantly, those who are with us virtually, they'd love to hear from you too. So when I say the spirit of community, it's very powerful, Because part of the human condition is we think we're the only one. We think we're the only one that works for an organization that sucks. We think we're the only one, right? That's the human story. But we find out we're not the only one. So we have a microphone here with this handsome gentleman from the other great state, Washington. Would you raise your hand, sir? He's got a microphone. In the spirit of community, let's hear from you. To what extent is your organization even aware of the loneliness epidemic? Please raise your hand or stand and he'll come to you. Thank you so much. Please introduce yourself so we can know who you are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sierra from DC, and my company, my company is fully remote as well. So we're spread out over about 26 different states, and we have no physical office location. So I know that my organization is aware of the loneliness epidemic and its impact, but specifically aware of it for the morale and not so much aware that it affects productivity as well. So that was a really good point that you mentioned.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So there is some awareness, right, of the epidemic, but to your point, we really don't know the impact on work. And now we know, based on research, that it impacts productivity, and that collective productivity impacts organizational excellence. Excellent. I'm going to teach you one word in Hawaiian. It's mahalo. Everybody practice? Oh, so quick, you studies. Okay, we're going to say mahalo to her with one clap. I don't like spitter spatter. I like energy. Woof, like that. Okay, so this is for you. Please stand. We're going to give you some love. Can you stand it? Would you like some love? You look like you could use a little bit of love. Okay, so on three, we're going to say mahalo. 1, 2, 3. Did you feel the love? Oh, I love love. Okay, let's hear from one more, please. He's got a microphone here, and you get to have some love, too. Come on, take it. Nobody wants some love? There, right here. There's a gentleman. Okay. Oh, there's another person here, too. We'll take you, too. Okay. So from your contribution there, that's very important. There's an awareness, but we don't know the awareness on work. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Mingo. I'm with Tuition Plan Consortium. I work in South Carolina, but my entire team, which is 4 more people, work in Massachusetts. So our organization is not aware of it, but I am. And that last slide was very impactful for me because I do notice that it has does affect my executive decision, executive functioning. So
beautiful. We're going to give Miss Kimberly some love. You ready, Freddie? 1, 2, 3. Mahalo. Love, 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 love. Yes. That was very powerful what you said, Miss Kimberly. Your company may not be aware of it, but you are. And often that's what happens, right? So within our sphere of influence, we can help to raise awareness. Was there another person there? Okay, we'll take one more and we got to roll. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Andrea Young, and I serve as Senior Director for People Solutions here in the great city of Chicago for a faith-based nonprofit. Words matter, so I think we know there's a thing, but I think naming the thing matters. So going back to say there's a loneliness epidemic, and we need to have the difficult conversations around how it's impacting us.
Thank you, Miss Andrea. Yes, and you get some love too. In fact, extra love. 1, 2, 3, mahalo. Absolutely. So these aren't just words, right? This is a description of a global threat that has an impact. So we have work to do. We've got a workplace challenge, but the good news is that therein lies the opportunity. Therein lies the opportunity. So we go back to Dr. Murthy, who says that to solve loneliness, I love that word solve. It there's hope, you know? We can solve it. To solve loneliness requires engagements of institutions where people spend the bulk of their time. And where do they spend the bulk of their time? Family, schools, social organizations, and the workplace. People, we're born and we die. And in between, we've got this gift called life. And where do we spend the majority of our lives? At work, and then we die. Okay, I'm just cutting through the chase here. You walk up. Turns out that that's where we can find the solution. And that companies have the power to drive change to address this thing called loneliness. So, organizational support matters. It does. Because the majority of people spend their lives at work. Let's go to some SHRM research that tells us that close connections at work have significant impact on job satisfaction and retention. So just think about that, right? So there's a battle for talent. We need people to work. And people leave, people move, right? Hard to retain them. You go through all that trouble trying to attract talent, but you can't retain it. Turns out that close connections can do that. So doesn't it make sense to support close connections? Research shows employees want a sense of belonging. So it's not just a word. People want this thing called belonging. And those with strong connections fulfill that sense of belonging. In other words, if you support connections, you have a competitive edge. You want to win the battle for talent, support connections. You want people to be satisfied at work, you want people to stay, please. Support connections. If you do that, you have a competitive edge. Here's more SHRM research to tell us why you should support connections and why we have work to do. So 25% do not trust their manager to treat them fairly. That's a significant slice of the pie. I don't know why I'm thinking of pies right now, but I like to think about food. Yeah, so that's like 1/4 of the whole dang pie, right? And as human beings, we do not keep our experience to ourselves. So that number bleeds into a higher number. 26% do not feel emotionally safe at work. See, as human beings, we're always trying to assess, is it safe around here? Is it okay to be me around here? That's why this matters. 27% say they have no chance or no opportunity to discuss issues without fear of penalty, punishment, or retaliation. What a way to live, right? You're hurting, or there's a situation you want to speak up on, but you're just going to keep it on the low, quiet. What a way to live. And 27% say their manager does not encourage open and transparent communication. There you go. People ending up in positions of leadership and they don't know how to lead. Hello. You know, yesterday was my birthday, and every time I have a birthday, I just don't care anymore. It's like I'm free to say what I want and what my heart says. So I'm going to say it again. Here we go. Leaders who don't know how to lead. Hello. It just makes me sick. So we've got a lot of work to do. So we need to support meaningful connections. Yeah. 75% who have close connections at work are more likely to stay at their job. Wouldn't you want to support connections? right? 80% who have close connections at work feel a strong sense of belonging. Just think about this for yourselves, right? When you have those close connections at work, you want to show up. You want to know how they're doing. You have that sense of belonging, and they want to know how you are, right? 85% who have close connections at work say positively impacted their career. So supporting meaningful connections is so important. Here's a couple of ideas, leadership strategies for a supportive and connected workplace. So this one comes from Ernst & Young. And what's fascinating to me is that it's seemingly simple, yet either we don't do it or we don't do it consistently. Having a boss regularly ask how an employee is doing personally and professionally makes them feel less lonely and contributes to a sense of belonging. So this thing that we talk about, even across social media, check in on people, turns out it makes a big difference. Not just how they're doing professionally, but personally as well. This also comes from Ernst & Young. This one says, I ask team members to have virtual coffee or lunch once a week with a new colleague. It's good practice to expand horizons and build new friendships. So for those of you who have friends, how many of you have friends? This is not a trick question. Okay, good. I'm so happy for you. Okay. In other words, as you're beginning to increase your attention and your awareness of this, share that knowledge with others too and encourage them to reach out. If you are leading a team, assign your team this piece, which is to have them connect with someone on a consistent, regular basis, because it does matter. Here's another action to help support connections at work. Double down support for your employee resource groups. Oh, I told you I had my birthday yesterday, so now I'm really going to give it to you. I am sick and tired of companies giving their employee resource groups $2. What the heck, right? You give them like a teeny tiny little budget for the whole year and expect them to help with connections at work. Please, let's not insult them, right? First of all, employee resource groups are made up of volunteers. And there's an opportunity there to really utilize them to help people connect, because people value affinity. So why not double down on your support with employee resource group? Why not give them the resource so that throughout the year they have programs that can connect people? Here's another action for you. This one, again, it's seemingly simple. Here's a quote. It comes from the Ernst & Young survey. If you pay attention to my work, at least I know if you care, if I come to work, and you care about me as a person. What a quote, right? So you need to be intentional and deliberate. I see you. How are you? Right? And when you're giving people feedback, give it to them real time. This is what you did well. Here's an opportunity. And when you're giving these specified feedback, do so with focus. Right? Not multitasking. How are you? I told you I just had my birthday yesterday. Don't make me mad. Okay? Do so with focus. Look them in the eye, whether virtual or not. Focus on them, right? And here's another important way to support connections. Practice inclusive communication. That word practice means with regularity, please. Fine-tuning, please. Intentional and deliberate, please. So we need to facilitate meetings skillfully. You can't just, turn on your computer, see all of these different boxes, and let's go. No. Skillfully. That means you pay attention to locations. Where is this person calling from? Was there a mass shooting there? Are there floods going on? Are things on fire? You can mention that. You can touch. Let them know you're paying attention and you care. Time zones. Are they calling in during dinner time? Early morning? Pay attention. And yes, communication styles. I don't know if you can tell I'm an extrovert. Just celebrated my 33rd wedding anniversary with an introvert. You can make it work, people. Yes, you can. Right? So I appreciate introverts. You need to give them a moment or two to process. But there's treasure there. It's not just from, people who readily talk. Because for me, like many extroverts, I talk to think. But there are introverts who really need silence for a moment or two, especially from people like me, right? So when you're facilitating those meetings, be mindful of that. Did you know that 46% of workers feel a sense of belonging when you give them the opportunity to voice their opinions even when it's different from other people? So practice that. And then, make sure you support individual action with resources. And there's an individual action that I am specifically talking about, and that is the importance of inner work. We're human beings. Our stories do not begin with us. We come from an epic. We have experienced, for example, trauma. We have experienced, for example, grief. If you've been on this planet long enough, you have had a broken heart. We are human beings who've experienced isolation and depression. When you come to work, there is not a machine that zaps you of your humanity. So as human resource professionals, we need to evolve the programs and the resources for our people. Right? So you really need to think about ways that you can support people to do their inner work, to become healthier. And by the way, being healthy is not a one and done. How many of you were happy last week? And right now you're sort of, right? Because life is like that. It requires maintenance. All that maintenance-free living is a lie. So I'm going to give you another quick opportunity, 3 minutes, you're welcome. Okay, how does